Okay, we'll start. People will join who want to join. Okay, it's around 4647 is already there, so we'll start. Yesterday we have seen the basic concepts about the intellectual property rights, and that in basic concepts about the intellectual property rights, its meaning, nature, and its all other issues. Yesterday we have discussed, like why it is protected, what is the nature of intellectual property right, then what was the definitions of intellectual property right, what is the definition of property, what is the definition of intellectual property. All these issues yesterday we have discussed. Okay, now as per the university syllabus, the remaining half part of the chapter number 1 that we are going to deal is a international concern for the protection of intellectual property rights. Okay, so what is the topic we are going to deal today? The topic today we are going to deal is a international concern for the protection of the intellectual property rights. Now here, the very first question which come in a mind is that what is the need of international protection? That is the very first question which come in a mind. See friends, as you are well aware about the fact that we all live in the world of the globalization, and technology transfer is a part and parcel of our life. Okay, so therefore it's quite possible that the patent we use in India can be used in the USA, that patent can be used in the Australia, that patent can be used in the United Kingdom. The book I have written in India may be read in the United States of America, it may be read in the China. So that means that we are living in the age of the technology transfer, right? So we are living in the age of globalization, and it's quite being necessary that there should be certain uniformity in the laws which are there for the protection of intellectual property right at an international level also. But see friends, there has been a gap actually in the laws which are there worldwide for the protection of the intellectual property rights. And to fill up this particular gap, there is a need of certain agreements, conventions which will be there at an international level, and which will help to fill up that gap, which will help to make the patchwork in that particular gap which is there in the internationally leveled protection to the intellectual property rights, so that the national law will be drafted accordingly. Here I would like to share with you one very simple example, and that simple example I would like to share is, have you heard about a bike, Harley Davidson? You may have heard about this particular bike. This bike is produced in United States of America. Now see, in United States of America, this bike cost around 5 lakh. Now, as per our Indian rules and regulations, we import a tax duty of 75% on this particular bike. That means around 3,75,000 rupees become the tax duty. And seller profit if added, we can say that this bike will cost in India around 10 lakh rupees, which is production cost in USA is a 5 lakh rupees. Okay, now many times USA have the complaint about this, that you are putting a very high import duty on the goods produced in the USA, etc. And finally, on frequent complaint by the USA, we have reduced this tax duty from 75% to just 50%. But still yet, on this bike, Harley Davidson, we have the 50% import duty in India on this particular bike. Now see, on the other hand, you all must be aware about a very famous bike in India, that is Enfield Bullet. Bullet, सबको पता ही है आप लोगों को. Now this particular Bullet, which is being exported from India in the many countries of the world, and USA put out 10% import duty on this particular bike. So accordingly the cost becomes somewhat lesser. And USA always complain about this particular fact that we impose the 10% duty and you impose the 75, which is reduced up to the 50% duty. That means you are finding what I want to say you, that there is a gap between the domestic laws in relating to this particular type of properties. So the point has been that one, that to patch up this particular gap, to fill up this particular gap, what is required is that there should be some international law for the protection of the intellectual property. Now see friends, you are well aware that after the 19th century, there has been a greater part of industrial revolution started. Various creations started in the field of the scientific, artist, literary field also. And therefore, international agreement is required for the purpose of what purpose it is required? As already I have told you, to fill up the gap between the domestic law and international domestic law on intellectual property rights. Now see friends, the very first attempt which was made for the purpose of filling up this particular gap was a Paris Convention. Very first attempt which was made was a Paris Convention for the protection of industrial property. See how we are going to deal today in detail about this intellectual concern. What is the very first convention? Paris Convention is the very first convention which is dealing with the for what purpose this is created? Industrial property protection. This convention was created, and when it was created, 20th March 1883, it was created in the Paris. So our story of international concern for intellectual property rights starts with this Paris Convention in the year 1883. Okay, now followed by this particular Paris Convention, the very next convention which came on an international regime was a Berne Convention or Berne Convention. Now, for what purpose this Berne Convention was created? See, friends, this was created for the protection of literary and artistic works. Now, this convention was created in the year 1886. Paris Convention was created in the year 1883, and then Berne Convention was created in the year 1886. Paris Convention was created for the protection of industrial property, and Berne Convention was created for the purpose of protection of the literary and artistic work. This Berne Convention was created in the Switzerland. Okay, you know, and there is some interesting fact also here, and that interesting fact is that Berne Convention and Paris Convention together are called as a Magna Carta of intellectual property rights, because they gave a very first idea about how intellectual property rights can be protected internationally. So therefore, both in combination, Paris Convention and Berne Convention in combination, what they are considered? They are considered as a Magna Carta of the intellectual property rights. Since then, after this Paris Convention and Berne Convention, intellectual property right at international level started to develop brick by brick. Friends, whether our houses get constructed within 1 day or 2 days, or once we put out a one brick and the one brick is an entire building, does it happen like that? No. When we construct a house, how we construct that particular house? Brick by brick. एक एक वीट आपण ठेवत जाणार आणि मग आपलं घर काय होईल सांगा, क्रिएट होईल. तसंच इंटेलेक्च्युअल प्रॉपर्टी राईटचे जे इंटरनॅशनल लॉज आहेत ते काय एका दिवसात बनलेले नाहीये. हळूहळू हळूहळू त्याची डेव्हलपमेंट सुरू झाली, आणि ती डेव्हलपमेंट, दॅट डेव्हलपमेंट come and ends on where it come and ends. It come and ends on the WTO's TRIPS and TRINS agreement. So here today what will be our role is that one. Our role will be start with the Paris Convention and ending on the TRINS agreement. That will be the entire way we are going to deal today. So very first thing which we are supposed to see today is that one. That is, we are going to see in somewhat smaller detail the Paris Convention. The step number 1, Paris Convention, and the step number last 2 hours will be TRINS agreement. Paris Convention here is a 1883. तर 1883 पासून जो हा प्रवास सुरू झाला, तो प्रवास कुठे जाऊन संपलेला आपला? ट्रिम्स अग्रीमेंटच्या तिथे जाऊन आपला संपलेला आहे. तो सगळा प्रवास आपल्याला थोडक्यात इथे आज काय करायचं सांगा, तर समराईज आपल्याला करायचं. मग त्यातली पहिली स्टेप कुठली बघणार आहे सांगा आपण? तर पहिली स्टेप आपण बघणार आहे ती म्हणजे पॅरिस कन्व्हेन्शन. आपण पहिली स्टेप बघणार आहे. थोडस सेंट्रल आयडिया तुम्हाला आलीच आहे पॅरिस कन्व्हेन्शनच्या बाबतीत. कधी बनलेलं आताच सांगितलं तुम्हाला पॅरिस कन्व्हेन्शन. इट इज बीन कन्क्लुडेड ऑन 23rd of March 1883. what is the date of Paris Convention? 23rd of March 1883. Paris Convention is the oldest international convention. In fact, we can say this is the first convention as relating to the intellectual property on international level. So even see friends, ह्याला पायोनियर कन्व्हेन्शन असं पण म्हणतात. पायोनियर ज्यानं इंटरनॅशनल लेवल वरती इंटेलेक्च्युअल प्रॉपर्टीचा काय ठेवलं सांगा, तर पाया ठेवला. पायोनियर कन्व्हेन्शन म्हणून पण कन्सिडर केलं जातं. या पर्टिक्युलर कन्व्हेन्शन खाली काय काय प्रोटेक्टेड आहे तुम्हाला वरती सेंट्रल आयडिया दिली आहे मी. इंडस्ट्रियल प्रॉपर्टीला प्रोटेक्ट करण्यासाठी पॅरिस कन्व्हेन्शन आलेलं, बरोबर आहे. मग आता इंडस्ट्रियल प्रॉपर्टी मध्ये काय काय आलं बघा, आपण काल पण डिस्कस केलेलं होतं. पेटंट्सना हे कन्व्हेन्शन प्रोटेक्ट करतं. डिझाईनला हे कन्व्हेन्शन प्रोटेक्ट करतं. त्याच्यानंतर ट्रेडमार्कला हे कन्व्हेन्शन प्रोटेक्ट करतं. वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारच्या युटिलिटी मॉडेल्सना हे कन्व्हेन्शन काय करतं, तर प्रोटेक्ट करतं. आणि कॉम्बिनेशन मध्ये मग आपण याला काय कॉल करू शकतो सांगा, तर इंडस्ट्रियल प्रॉपर्टीला हे कन्व्हेन्शन जे आहे हे कन्व्हेन्शन काय करतं, तर प्रोटेक्ट करतं. पॅरिस कन्व्हेन्शन आणखीन एक महत्वाचं काम केलेलं, की एक इन्स्टिट्यूशनल फ्रेमवर्क दिला. म्हणजे ह्या सगळ्या इंटेलेक्च्युअल प्रॉपर्टीजना प्रोटेक्ट करण्यासाठी एक इन्स्टिट्यूट बनवली आणि त्या इन्स्टिट्यूटला काही ऑर्गन्स पण बनवल्या. नाउ सी व्हॉट वॉज द ऑर्गन्स विच वॉज क्रिएटेड अंडर द पॅरिस कन्व्हेन्शन. लाईक युनियन वॉज वन ऑफ द ऑर्गन, assembly was another organ. Executive committee was made to this particular institution, and one international bureau was also made. So Paris Convention created the institutional framework which was having the four, what we can say, that organs. आणि काय काय त्या चार ऑर्गन होत्या बघा, युनियन, असेंब्ली, एक्झिक्युटिव्ह कमिटी आणि इंटरनॅशनल ब्युरो. ह्या चार ऑर्गन काय केल्या तर तिथे बनवलेल्या होत्या. पॅरिस कन्व्हेन्शन पहिलं कन्व्हेन्शन होतं इंटरनॅशनली इंटेलेक्च्युअल प्रॉपर्टीला प्रोटेक्ट करण्यासाठी. आणि टू द सरप्राईज 140 मेंबर आर देअर टू दिस पर्टिक्युलर पॅरिस कन्व्हेन्शन. म्हणजे जवळजवळ 140 देशांनी पॅरिस कन्व्हेन्शन काय केलेलं सांगा, तर साईन केलेलं आहे. फ्रॉम दॅट ओनली वी कम टू नो द इम्पॉर्टन्स ऑफ द पॅरिस कन्व्हेन्शन. त्यातूनच आपल्याला कळतं की पॅरिस कन्व्हेन्शनचं व्हॅल्यू किती आहे. मग आता तुम्ही म्हणाल की पॅरिस कन्व्हेन्शन खाली इंडस्ट्रियल प्रॉपर्टी प्रोटेक्ट करतात हे तुम्ही सांगितलं. पण मग ती प्रोटेक्ट कशी करायची इंडस्ट्रियल प्रॉपर्टी पॅरिस कन्व्हेन्शन खाली, तर ती प्रॉपर्टी प्रोटेक्ट कशी करायची त्याच्यासाठी त्यांनी 3 गायडिंग प्रिन्सिपल दिलेले पॅरिस कन्व्हेन्शन मध्ये. लक्षात येतं पॅरिस कन्व्हेन्शन कशाला प्रोटेक्ट करतं 1883चं, इंडस्ट्रियल प्रॉपर्टीला, राईट. आणि मग ती इंडस्ट्रियल प्रॉपर्टी पॅरिस कन्व्हेन्शन खाली प्रोटेक्ट कशी करायची त्याच्यासाठी त्यांनी किती गायडिंग प्रिन्सिपल दिलेले बघा, 3 गायडिंग प्रिन्सिपल. व्हॉट आर दॅट विल सी. नंबर 1 गायडिंग प्रिन्सिपल इज अ नॅशनल ट्रीटमेंट. पहिलं गायडिंग प्रिन्सिपल काय होतं सांगा, नॅशनल ट्रीटमेंट. म्हणजे काय असेल बघा, नॅशनल ट्रीटमेंट हा वर्ड थ्रू आउट ट्रिम्स आपल्या बरोबर सोबत राहणार आहे. त्यामुळे एकदाच त्याची कन्सेप्ट तुमच्या डोक्यात घालून घ्या की नॅशनल ट्रीटमेंट म्हणजे काय असेल बघा. नॅशनल ट्रीटमेंट म्हणजे एव्हरी मेंबर स्टेट शुड ग्रँट the same protection to the national of the other member state as it grant to its own national. जर भारतात एखादं पेटंट भारतीय माणसाला ग्रँट केलं जात आहे, ज्या रूल्स रेग्युलेशन्स आणि सुविधांच्या सहित भारतीय माणसाला पेटंट ग्रँट केलं जात आहे, त्याच रूल्स अँड रेग्युलेशन्स खाली जर भारतात एका अमेरिकन माणसानं अप्लाय केलं तर तीच ट्रीटमेंट आपण त्या अमेरिकन माणसाच्या पेटंटला पण द्यायला पाहिजे, जे आपण कुणाला देतोय तर भारतीय माणसाला देतोय. ओके, सो एव्हरी मेंबर स्टेट इज सपोज टू गिव्ह द सेम ट्रीटमेंट टू द अदर कंट्रीज इंटेलेक्च्युअल प्रॉपर्टी इन द फॉर्म ऑफ इंडस्ट्रियल प्रॉपर्टी विच they give to their own member. That is number 1 which is called as a national treatment. आता तुम्हाला सांगितलंय हा वर्ड नॅशनल ट्रीटमेंट थ्रू आउट आजचं लेक्चर तुमच्या डोक्यामध्ये ठेवा, कारण अगदी ट्रिम्स पर्यंत हा वर्ड आपल्या बरोबर काय राहणार आहे तर शेवटपर्यंत कंटिन्यू राहणार आहे. सो व्हॉट द पॉइंट नंबर 1 काय लक्षात आलं, पॅरिस कन्व्हेन्शन मध्ये दिलेली गाईडलाईन नॅशनल ट्रीटमेंट वॉज द फर्स्ट गाईडलाईन. नंबर 2, जे 140 देश पॅरिस कन्व्हेन्शनचे मेंबर झालेले आहेत ना, त्यांना युनियन असं नाव दिलं हा, आणि युनियनला प्रायोरिटी दिलेली आहे ऍप्लिकेशन करताना हा. म्हणजे पॉइंट काय म्हणतो बघा, राईट ऑफ अ प्रायोरिटी विच कन्फर ऑन द मेंबर ऑफ द युनियन हा. जे वरती आपण बघितलं ना पॅरिस कन्व्हेन्शनच्या त्या 4 बॉडीज आहेत ना, असेंब्ली, ब्युरो, युनियन. तर जे देश मेंबर ऑफ युनियन आहेत हा, तर त्यांना ऍप्लिकेशन मध्ये काय दिली जाईल सांगा, तर प्रायोरिटी द्या असं म्हणून त्यांनी काय केलं तर सांगितलं तिथं हा. आणि तिसरा रूल जो सांगितला पॅरिस कन्व्हेन्शन खाली, तो सांगितला युनिफॉर्म रूल्स हा. युनिफॉर्म रूल्स म्हणजे लक्षात येत आहे इंटरनॅशनल लेवलवरती जे काही नियम इंटेलेक्च्युअल प्रॉपर्टीच्या प्रोटेक्शनसाठी बनवले जातील हा, ते नियम जे आहेत ते युनिफॉर्म असू देत हा. म्हणजे सपोज इंडिया काही रूल बनवत आहे तर सिमिलर रूल युएसए मध्ये असू देत, थोडेफार सिमिलर रूल युकेत असू देत, ऑस्ट्रेलियात असू देत. म्हणजे जे काय मेंबर कंट्रीज आहेत पॅरिस कन्व्हेन्शनचे, ते सगळे मेंबर कंट्रीज जे आहेत त्या मेंबर कंट्रीजचे रूल काय असू देत, सिमिलर युनिफॉर्म रूल असू देत असं काय केलेलं होतं तर ह्या कन्व्हेन्शन मध्ये सांगितलेलं. पण ऑफकोर्स हा युनिफॉर्म रूल असू देत हा सल्ला झाला. This is an advice which is there for the making of a uniform rule, but of course priority will be there to the domestic, because of course when we are making a law in India, we'll give the priority to the, of course, Indian situations and Indian circumstances. So what that particular convention was saying is that uniform rule, which means that although the convention regard the protection of industrial property right as a matter of domestic concern, uniform rule बनवा, पण तिथे सुद्धा प्रोटेक्शन जास्त कुणाला दिलं जाईल तर डोमेस्टिकला प्रोटेक्शन दिलं जाईल. ओके, सो फ्रेंड्स, स्टेप नंबर 1 वी आर फिनिश्ड आउट हियर. Which convention we are seeing? Got the point? Paris Convention of the 1883, which is there for the protection of industrial property. हा word fix लक्षात ठेवा. आणि how by the national treatment हा एक word fix काय करा तर लक्षात ठेवा तिथं. Now the second step, which is there in the history of international concern for the protection of intellectual property right, is a Berne Convention. As I already told you, this Berne Convention is created or enacted in the year 1886. 1886 चे हे कन्व्हेन्शन आहे. आणि हे कन्व्हेन्शन मात्र कशासाठी आहे सांगा, लिटररी आणि आर्टिस्टिक वर्क्सच्या प्रोटेक्शनसाठी आहे. म्हणजे थोडं आजच्या भाषेत जर आपण बोललो तर आजच्या भाषेत ते कशाच्या प्रोटेक्शनसाठी आहे तर दिस इज फॉर द प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ व्हॉट यू कॅन कॉल एज अ कॉपीराइट आजच्या भाषेमध्ये. फक्त त्यावेळेला त्याला नाव काय दिलेलं कळलं तुम्हाला, त्यावेळेला त्याला नाव दिलेलं होतं की दिस कन्व्हेन्शन इज फॉर द पर्पज ऑफ प्रोटेक्टिंग द लिटररी अँड आर्टिस्टिक वर्क. बर्न कन्व्हेन्शन टोटल 38 आर्टिकल्स बनलेलं आहे. मोर दॅन 120 कंट्रीज ज्या आहेत त्या बर्न कन्व्हेन्शनच्या काय तर मेंबर आहेत. रिव्हिजन झालेल्या बर्न कन्व्हेन्शन मध्ये, आणि अकॉर्डिंग टू दॅट रिव्हिजन आता बर्न कन्व्हेन्शन कॉपीराइटच्या सगळ्या आस्पेक्टशी काय करते तर डील करते. ह्या बर्न कन्व्हेन्शन खाली ना कॉपीराइटचं प्रोटेक्शन पिरियड जे होतं ते प्रोटेक्शन पिरियड किती दिलेलं आहे तर ऑथरचं लाईफ प्लस 50 year was the period which is given under the Berne Convention. Did you remember yesterday I told you from India what is the period? लक्षात आहे कालचं सांगितलेलं. इन इंडिया व्हॉट इज द पिरियड फॉर द प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ कॉपीराइट? ऑथर्स लाईफ प्लस 60 year इज द प्रोटेक्शन. आणि तेच या बर्न कन्व्हेन्शन खाली जे प्रोटेक्शन दिलेले ते किती सांगा, ऑथर्स लाईफ प्लस 50 year. And even there was another provision also in this particular convention, that is even the work which are anonymous and pseudonymous, the work which are anonymous and pseudonymous will be protected from the publication for 50 years. Anonymous आणि pseudonymous works जे आहेत ते किती काळापर्यंत कॉपीराइटेड राहतील तर ज्या दिवशी त्याचं पब्लिकेशन झालं from that day it is going to be protected for the 50 years. Now did you know the meaning of word anonymous and pseudonymous words? You are aware about this particular words? See friends, anonymous means a work which is without any name. ज्या पर्टिक्युलर वर्कला कुठलं नाव नाहीये, अनामिक नावानं एखादं वर्क पब्लिश केलेलं असेल तर त्याला काय कन्सिडर करतात तर अनॉनिमस असं कन्सिडर करतात त्याला. आणि अपोजिट साइडला pseudonymous म्हणजे when a particular author write with certain imaginary name, then that particular considered as a pseudonymous. Many writers have a tendency of writing with some fancy name. Okay, in that particular case, they will be considered as a, what we will see to it in the sense of a pseudonymous. It will be considered as a pseudonymous. So anonymous and pseudonymous are going to be protected. For how much time they are going to be protected? From the publication, they are going to be protected for the 50 year. So got the point? So this is the second step in the international consent for the protection of intellectual property right. Okay, that was which agreement we are seeing now? Berne Convention. And Paris Convention and Berne Convention in combination is considered as a Magna Carta for the protection of intellectual property right at the international level. Okay, now step number 3, which we are going to see here, that step number 3 is a Madrid Agreement. Is the step number 3 we are going to see. Now this Madrid Agreement was for the purpose of protecting the registration of the marks. For what purpose it is created? Registration of the marks. Madrid Agreement is created in the year 1891. And 1891, the date was 14th April 1891 is the date when this Madrid Agreement is created. Since then, this agreement is revised many times. And the last revision of Madrid Agreement recently took place in the year 1967 at Stockholm. You may ask, what is the purpose of this Madrid Agreement? The purpose of this particular Madrid Agreement is to simplify the procedure for filing of the trademark and service mark in a different country. Madrid Agreement was for which purpose? Got the point? It is for the purpose of trademark and service mark. Yesterday I told you an example of the trademark. Okay, Cadbury, Reebok, all these are considered as a trademark. Okay, Indian Airlines, Union Airlines, these all are considered as a service mark. Okay, so Madrid Agreement was created for what purpose? It was created for the purpose of making the got the point? It is created for purpose of protecting the trademark and service mark. Okay, so Paris Convention, Berne Convention, Madrid Agreement. Now the fourth step which we are going to deal is the next step we are going to deal is a Universal Copyright Convention. The next step we are going to deal is a Universal Copyright Convention is the next step we are going to see. See friends, from the name itself you will understand the purpose of this particular convention. What is the name of this convention? Universal Copyright Convention. So this says us this is for the purpose of protection of the copyright. You may have a question in your mind that already Berne Convention is there on a copyright. Then what is the need of this another convention on protection of copyright? I will explain you the reason for this another convention. Prior to that, some facts about this convention is that Universal Copyright Convention was adopted at Geneva, which is in Switzerland. The year when this Universal Copyright Convention was adopted is in the year 1952. And there are two copyright international convention. One is a Berne Convention and another is this one, Universal Copyright Convention. Now, another important interesting fact which we should remember here is that this Universal Copyright Convention is developed by UNESCO. This Universal Copyright Convention is developed by whom? UNESCO has developed this particular convention. Now, did you remember what is meant by UNESCO? You already got this particular information about UNESCO last year in the human rights subject. UNESCO, the long form of UNESCO you may be remembering. I will tell you again. United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. What is the long form of UNESCO? United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. You all are aware about the fact that UNESCO is an agency of United Nations. UNESCO was established in the year, remember, 1946 is the year in which UNESCO is established, and this is the specialized agency of United Nations. For what purpose UNESCO is created? See friends, UNESCO is created to contribute to the peace. What is the purpose of the UNESCO? To contribute to the peace and security. But what is the medium? What is the method? By promoting the collaboration among the nation through education, science, culture, and respect for justice, rule of law, human rights and fundamental freedoms. UNESCO want to create the peace and security in the world through which medium? Through the collaboration among the nation. And in which field they want to make a collaboration? Collaboration in the field of education, science, culture, and in the same time they want to promote the respect in the people for justice, for rule of law, for human rights and fundamental freedom. If all these are protected, automatically what will come? There will be a peace in the society. Okay, so we can say simply that UNESCO's basic purpose is to build the peace in the mind of the men and women, and for that building the peace, the field they want to use are education, science and culture. By using this particular field, UNESCO want to promote the peace among the nations. See friends, UNESCO being a specialized agency of the United Nations is a very important organ and have 195 member countries are there. Out of the world's all countries, how many countries are a member of the UNESCO? 195 countries are there who are a member of the UNESCO. Now, as already I have told you, UNESCO work in a field of the education. They work in the field of natural sciences. They work in the field of the social and human sciences. They work for culture. They work for communication, information. There are many projects also which are sponsored by the UNESCO. So this is education, social and cultural organization. Okay, for the promoting the peace and security in the world. Even one of the interesting fact about the UNESCO is that if a particular site is a heritage site or not, it is to be decided by the UNESCO. So UNESCO also decide that what will become the World Heritage Site. If any particular site is to be declared as a heritage site, then at a world level, who take this particular decision? UNESCO take this particular decision. Okay, in all with the help of education, then what we can say is the social science field and cultural field. UNESCO work on a very high level as a agency of the United Nations. Already I have told you that UNESCO's constitution was adopted in the year 1945. Then finally UNESCO is established in the year 1946 November. And UNESCO's headquarters is located in Paris, France, where UNESCO's headquarters is located. UNESCO's headquarters is located at Paris, France. Now see friends, you may have a question in your mind, that what is the connection of UNESCO and intellectual property rights? UNESCO work in the field of the education also. No? You must have got this particular point that UNESCO is working in the field of the education also. So according to that sense, in the field of education, intellectual property rights also comes now, because intellect and education relate to each other. Culture, got the point. UNESCO has created this particular copyright convention on a universal point. So that's what's called Universal Copyright Convention. Now you got some history about UNESCO. Now we'll connect with the Universal Copyright Convention. The question which I kept you sometime before in front of you, and that question was that, remember what was that question? If there was already a Berne Convention on the protection of the copyright. As you are aware about that fact, already there was a Berne Convention on the protection of copyright. Then what was the need of another convention in the form of a UNESCO convention? I will tell you now the reason. But it was necessary first of all to create the UNESCO. Therefore, we already discussed about whom? UNESCO. And now we'll go to the Universal Copyright Convention, which is adopted by the UNESCO. What is the need? See, Berne Convention was a convention which was mostly protecting and favoring to the developed countries. Berne Convention's provisions was such like that they were mostly protecting and favoring to whom? They were mostly protecting and favoring to the developed countries. And therefore, developing countries was having in mind that that provisions are not promoting to their artistic and literary work. So they wish to have some another agreement for the protection of the literary work. Especially the Latin American countries was not satisfied with that particular Berne Convention, and therefore for the purpose of encouraging the creativity among the developing countries or least developed country, they feel that there is a need of another law, and therefore, according to the UNESCO's attempts, UNESCO's contribution for the making of fair balance between the interest of the author and interest of the general public, they thought that there is need of certain copyright convention apart from Berne Convention. So, see friends, the development in the Latin America basically felt the need in the 1940 itself for the multilateral treaty which will help to the author's right apart from the Berne Convention, because as already I have told you, Berne Convention was centered around Europe only. Mostly Berne Convention's provisions was such like that which was promoting and protecting to the European areas, and so therefore they thought that there is a need of another convention, and therefore finally after the lot of discussions on that particular point, this convention called as the Universal Copyright Convention was created. Now see friends, this particular convention, as already told you, has adopted on the 6th of September 1952 and it came into the year in force 16th of September 1955. What is the date of passing of this particular convention? Adopting date, Universal Copyright Convention is adopted on 6th of September 1952 and it came into force. When it came into force? It came into force on 16th of September 1955 when it was ratified by the 12 countries. Initially, how much countries ratified this particular convention? That is, 6 countries ratified this convention and then convention came into the force. We'll have a smaller look on what are the important provisions of Universal Copyright Convention. But up to the point what I have told you, did you got? Universal Copyright Convention is created by UNESCO. We have got some smaller history about the UNESCO also. Then what we have seen is that already there was a convention called as the Berne Convention, but that was favoring the developed countries much more. So the developing and less developed countries thought that there should be another convention for the protection of the copyright, and so therefore under the auspices of the UNESCO, this convention is created. Now we are having a look over the some smaller provisions about this particular convention. Number one point which is there, the aim of universal membership. This particular convention was having the aim of universal membership. They don't want to restrict themselves only to the European countries or American countries, etc. The aim of this particular convention was a universal membership, and thus to include the countries which need for a law protection, and especially the target group was a developing countries was their target group. So what is the first provision? Universal membership was the first point which this particular convention thought on. Then second thing is that the preamble of this particular convention says that effective and uniform manner the rights of author must be protected. Rights of author should be protected. How? They should be protected in the uniform and effective manner. They should be protected. Then next point which is given here is that one. Even foreign work should also be protected. That was a provision in the Article 3 of this particular convention. Then see friends, Article 4 of Universal Copyright Convention provided the minimum duration of 25 years for the copyright. How much years protection is given? 25 years copyright protection was given, and for a photographic work and a work of art 10-year protection was given under the Universal Copyright Convention. Then see, the principle of national treatment was also there in this particular convention, but it was somewhat in a different way. To some extent, this convention becomes successful. To some extent, this convention also had certain lacunas. So, to the point or to the requirement, this convention was needed to be successful. Yet, it is not been so made successful. Okay. So, got the point. The next point we have discussed now is the Universal Copyright Convention is the point we have discussed. Okay. So, what points we have discussed up to the point? Remember, Paris Convention we have discussed. Then what we have discussed, we have also gone through the point of a Madrid Convention. We have gone through Berne Convention, and just now we have seen the point of what? We have seen the point of this one, Universal Copyright Convention, which is made by the UNESCO. Now the next step which come in the protection of intellectual property right at an international level is a WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization. See, this is a very, very important step in the development of intellectual property at the international level. WIPO is considered to be a landmark organization, or we can say that establishment of WIPO is considered as a landmark event in the history of the promotion and protection of the intellectual property at the global level. This is a very, very important step. This World Intellectual Property Right Organization should be created. For that, one convention was created, and that convention was established for the purpose of creating the WIPO, that is WIPO. That convention was signed where? The convention was signed at Stockholm. कहाँ पे convention sign हुआ? Stockholm में वो convention sign हुआ. And what was the date of signing convention? 14th of July 1961 is the date of signing of that particular convention. Here, one interesting fact again I want to tell you that convention was signed on 14th July 1967. Okay, and the convention came into force on 26th of April 1970. The convention was signed in the year 1967 and the convention came into force. Date क्या है देखो, 26 अप्रैल 1970. 26th of April 1970 is the date. Did you know the importance of this particular date, 26th of April? Anybody? See, this date, 26th of April, is celebrated as the इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट डे, वर्ल्ड इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट डे के फॉर्म में 26 अप्रैल को सेलिब्रेट किया जाता है. और उसका रीजन ध्यान में आ गया आपको? व्हाट इज द रीजन? बिकॉज WIPO convention which is passed in the year 1967 came into force on 26th of April 1970 and therefore this day is celebrated as a World Intellectual Property Right Day. So you may have got the point कि WIPO is one of the very important organ which is working for the protection of intellectual property rights. WIPO's headquarter is situated at Geneva. WIPO's headquarter is situated at the Geneva situated. Now the very first question which come in the mind after looking to the establishment of WIPO is that what are the objectives of WIPO? WIPO बनवलंच का? काय गरज होती WIPOच्या बनवण्याची? So what are the objectives? What is the purpose of the creation of the WIPO? So we'll deal with that particular purpose now. Number one purpose of creating the WIPO is promoting the protection of intellectual property. Intellectual property च्या protection ला promote करणं कुठे बघा? Throughout the world with the cooperation of the states. Because it's not possible with the help of only one state we can promote the intellectual property. Okay, so intellectual property ला promote करण्यासाठी, protect करण्यासाठी states मध्ये cooperation घडवून आणणं हे WIPOचं काय होतं सांगा तर first purpose होता. Number two purpose of the WIPO is that to harmonize national intellectual property law and procedure. Already I have told you national intellectual property laws. And what WIPO want to do is that harmonize them. Now क्या करना पड़ेगा? harmonize करना मतलब US का IPR law अलग है, इंडिया का IPR लॉ अलग है, ऑस्ट्रेलिया का IPR लॉ अलग है. इसका मतलब लॉ में क्या बोलो वहां पे गैप है. और वो गैप कम करके, गैप भर के तो नहीं आ सकता बट गैप कम करके उन लॉज को एक दूसरे के साथ कंसिस्टेंट बनाना, somewhat similar बनाना, that was the purpose of the WIPO. So second purpose of the WIPO was to harmonize the national intellectual property law and the procedure. See, the third purpose of the WIPO was provide the service for the purpose of exchange of information on intellectual property. The countries basically developed countries and underdeveloped countries. Developed countries have many information which did not been there to the underdeveloped countries. So WIPO played as a connecting organ for the purpose of a exchange of information on the intellectual property. इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी पे एक कंट्री से दूसरे कंट्री में इंफॉर्मेशन एक्सचेंज करने के लिए एक इम्पोर्टेंट कनेक्टिंग लिंक का रोल किसने किया हुआ है, वाइपो ने किया हुआ है. एंड स्पेशली डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज जो है ना, उनको अगर इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट से कनेक्टेड कुछ भी लीगल या टेक्निकल मदद चाहिए, हेल्प चाहिए, असिस्टेंस चाहिए, तो वो भी कौन प्रोवाइड करता है, WIPO प्रोवाइड करता है. गेटिंग द पॉइंट व्हाट आई एम सेइंग. WIPO provide legal and technical assistance to the developing and other countries. डेवलपिंग और अदर कंट्री जिनको भी लीगल या टेक्निकल असिस्टेंस की जरूरत है और IPR, वो जरूरत कौन सेटिस्फाई करने की कोशिश करेगा, WIPO is going to try to satisfy that need. And the last one in the object of the world intellectual property right is it's a way of facilitating the resolution of private intellectual property dispute. If there is any kind of a private IPR dispute between country, who will help to satisfy that one? Again, WIPO can also help to satisfy them. So that was objectives of the intellectual property right organ known as a World Intellectual Property Organization. Now, after looking to the object of WIPO, the next question which come in a mind, what type of a functions WIPO परफॉर्म, WIPO एग्जैक्टली किस टाइप के फंक्शंस परफॉर्म करती है, ये नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन हमारे माइंड में यहाँ पे क्रिएट हो जाता है. सो विल हैव द लुक ऑन अ functions of the WIPO. Somewhat repetition will be there here actually because objective में भी कुछ functions WIPO के क्या हो जाता है, वो लोग cover up हो जाते हैं. Okay, so what are the functions of the WIPO? Number one, to promote the development of the major design for efficient protection of the intellectual property throughout the world. Throughout world IPR को efficiently protect करने के लिए हम जो भी मेजर्स रिक्वायर्ड है उस मेजर्स को प्रमोट करना, ये IPR का पहला फंक्शन है. IPR के प्रोटेक्शन के लिए जो भी मेजर्स इंटरनेशनली रिक्वायर्ड है उसको प्रमोट करना, ये WIPO का क्या है बोलो, पहला फंक्शन है वहां पे. नंबर 2 पॉइंट क्या गया देखो वहां पे. WIPO, ये फंक्शन WIPO का बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है वापस. WIPO encourage the conclusion of international agreement designed to promote and protect the intellectual property. ये वाला फंक्शन WIPO का बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि WIPO के अंडर ऑक्सपिशियस IPR से रिलेटेड बहुत सारे एग्रीमेंट्स बनते हैं. तो to encourage and conclude the international agreements to promote the IPR is important function of the WIPO. Then next one, जिस भी देश को, ये ऊपर गया हुआ रिपीट पॉइंट है, लीगल या टेक्निकल असिस्टेंस की जरूरत है इन द इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट फील्ड, WIPO उसको कॉपरेट करता है. टू ऑफर द कॉपरेशन फॉर लीगल एंड टेक्निकल असिस्टेंस टू एनी कंट्री विच वांट एंड दैट पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट. देन इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी के बारे में इंफॉर्मेशन को कलेक्ट करके उसको लोगों में फैलाना, डिसमिनेट करना, ये भी WIPO वर्कआउट करता है अपने काम में. असेंबल एंड डिसमिनेट द इंफॉर्मेशन concerning the protection of intellectual property rights. And finally, the last function which WIPO perform is that to maintain the service facilitating the international protection of intellectual property. इंटरनेशनल प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी के लिए जो भी सर्विसेज रिक्वायर्ड है वो सर्विसेज कौन प्रोवाइड करता है, WIPO करता है. इन ऑल वी कैन से दैट इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट के प्रोटेक्शन के लिए लीगल असिस्टेंस, टेक्निकल असिस्टेंस, सर्विसेज, ऑल टाइप ऑफ हेल्प, एग्रीमेंट को कंक्लूड करने में मदद, ये सब कुछ कौन प्रोवाइड करता है, WIPO यहाँ पे प्रोवाइड करता है. नाउ द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट विच कम that I'm saying WIPO is such an important organization. Okay, so how many member are there to the WIPO, or how many member are there who have signed the convention of the WIPO? So see, membership of WIPO is open to the all member of any union. WIPO at present have 193 member. At present WIPO को total member state कितने बोलो, 193 member state are there to the WIPO at present. WIPO work with the help of certain organs. कोई भी बॉडी हो, आपको लास्ट ईयर ह्यूमन राइट्स याद होगा, हाँ, और यूनेस्को इज देयर, हाँ, यूनिसेफ इज देयर, यू हैव स्टडीड, हाँ, और टाइप ऑफ दिस इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैव सर्टेन ऑर्गन. वाइपो को भी ऑर्गन्स है. व्हाट आर दैट ऑर्गन्स ऑफ द वाइपो? जनरल असेंबली, one body called as a conference, one body called as a coordination committee, one body called as a international bureau, are the organs of the WIPO. देन में 4 ऑर्गन है WIPO को भी. एक जनरल असेंबली है, एक कॉन्फ्रेंस है, एक कॉपरेशन कमिटी है और एक इंटरनेशनल ब्यूरो. सो दिस ऑल आर देयर which work as the organ of the WIPO. WIPO के ऑर्गन फॉर्म में वो क्या करते हैं, वहां पे काम करते हैं. अब WIPO किस एरिया में काम करता है? दैट इज प्रोग्राम एंड एक्टिविटीज ऑफ द WIPO. WIPO के प्रोग्राम एंड एक्टिविटीज क्या है? देखो, very important first point is that one, advice and expertise in the revision of the national law is particularly important for the WIPO member state. जो भी WIPO member state के present national laws हैं, उसको ट्रिप्स एग्रीमेंट के हिसाब से रिवाइज करने में उनको एक्सपर्टाइज एडवाइस कौन देता है? बोलो, WIPO देता है. ध्यान में आ रहा है? जो भी प्रेजेंट नेशनल लॉज हैं ऑन इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट इन अ डिफरेंट कंट्री, उसको ट्रिप्स एग्रीमेंट के हिसाब से कंसिस्टेंट बनाने के लिए एक्सपर्टाइज एडवाइस कौन प्रोवाइड करता है? WIPO प्रोवाइड करता है. देन नेक्स्ट वन देखो क्या गया, कॉम्प्रहेंसिव एजुकेशन एंड ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम भी WIPO कंडक्ट करता है. नेशनल लेवल भी और रीजनल लेवल भी for the dealing with the issues of intellectual property rights. क्या करता है WIPO? एजुकेशन एंड ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम कंडक्ट करता है नेशनल और रीजनल लेवल पे. किस पर्पस के लिए? इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट के प्रोटेक्शन के लिए. देन फाइनली, if required, some financial assistance may be given by the WIPO for the purpose of participation in the WIPO activity and meeting. Especially underdeveloped countries. If they want that underdeveloped countries or developing countries also participate in their meeting, but they have the financial problem while participating in the meeting, WIPO help them financially also for the purpose of participating in that particular meeting. And the next point we are going to deal about WIPO is that WIPO is a type of a worldwide academy also. Have you at any time visited the website of World Intellectual Property Organization? If you have not visited yet any time, definitely go and visit that particular website. You will find that there are certain courses also. World Intellectual Property Organization conduct arrange certain courses also. Some courses are free. The syllabus is also given. The material is also given. You can read out the material. You can give the exam online, and even you will get the certificate also from that particular course. And then advanced courses are there also, for which fees has been put out on the WIPO website. So WIPO is a type of a worldwide academy also, because WIPO believe that human capital of developing countries is the key to their realizing the full benefit of national and international intellectual property system. जो developing countries है ना, उसका सबसे बड़ा capital क्या है बोलो? Human capital. और human being को गॉड ने क्या गिफ्ट किया हुआ है? कल ऑलरेडी डिस्कस किया था हमने. गॉड हैज गिफ्टेड अस विद द इंटेलेक्ट, एंड देयरफॉर WIPO हेल्प डेवलप दोज ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेस. उन ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेस को डेवलप करने में WIPO क्या करती है? मदद करती है. और इसके लिए अलग अलग प्रोग्राम अरेंज करती है. डिस्टेंस लर्निंग सेंटर विद द हेल्प ऑफ इंटरनेट फैसिलिटी अरेंज करती है. क्लाइंट वाइज लर्निंग मॉडल भी बनाती है. मॉडर्न पब्लिक एक्सेस मीडिया का नॉलेज भी डिसेमिनेट करती है. सो WIPO इज अ टाइप ऑफ अ वर्ल्ड वाइड एकेडमी also, where we can get the learning point also on the intellectual property rights issues. And final point about the WIPO which we are going to deal, that is there is a connection, interrelationship between the two organs called as a World Intellectual Property Organization and World Trade Organization. See what are the two organ connected, how they are to each other. WIPO and WTO are connected to each other with one agreement which was made on 1st of January 1996. There is one agreement which is made between WIPO and WTO. That agreement कब किया गया? 1st of January 1996 को वो एग्रीमेंट किया गया. हाँ, एंड फॉर व्हाट पर्पस दैट एग्रीमेंट इज क्रिएटेड? कोऑपरेटिव एंड कंडक्टिव रिलेशनशिप. वाइपो और डब्ल्यूटीओ में कैसा रिलेशनशिप हो? कोऑपरेटिव और कंडक्टिव रिलेशनशिप हो. हाँ, और इस एग्रीमेंट के थ्रू 3 इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें डिसाइड हो गई. हाँ, व्हाट आर द 3 इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग्स डिसाइडेड बाय दिस पर्टिकुलर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इज सी. नंबर 1, हाँ, जो भी डब्ल्यूटीओ के मेंबर है ना, हाँ, उनको वाइपो ने बनाए हुए लॉज और रेगुलेशंस आसानी से एक्सेसिबल होंगे. हाँ, accessibility of the laws and regulations in the WIPO collection by WTO member. WTO member को WIPO ने बनाए हुए laws और regulations आसानी से accessible होंगे. नंबर 2, हाँ, accessibility of the computerized database to the WTO member. WIPO का जो भी computerized database material है उसका एक्सेस किसको दिया गया? WTO मेंबर को और उनके नेशनल्स को दिया गया. And last one point, accessibility of laws and regulations in the WIPO collection by the WTO Secretariat and the Council of TRIPS. जो भी laws and regulations WIPO के पास है, हाँ, उसका accessibility even किसको दिया गया? WTO Secretariat और TRIPS के Council को भी दिया गया. So in all we can say that World Intellectual Property Rights Organization is one of the very important organization, WIPO, which is working for the protection of our intellectual property rights today. So what the point, friends? One another point we have finished out there. World Intellectual Property Rights Organization, that is WIPO. And now the last organization which is remaining, that is WTO, World Trade Organization, and with its 2 agreement, because under the auspices of World Trade Organization 2 agreements are created. And what are the 2 agreements? Number 1 is a TRIPS, Trade Related Intellectual Property Right Aspect, and another is a TRIMS, that is Trade Related Investment Measure. These 2 agreement are created under the auspices of a WTO. So the next organ we are going to deal is a World Trade Organization, is a next agreement we are going to deal. Did you know this particular fact that before World Trade Organization was created, there was another organization which was working worldwide for the international trade, and that was GATT. You may have heard about this particular agreement, GATT, General Agreement on Trade and Tariff. This GATT was working for the exchange of the goods internationally. GATT replaced by the WTO. But इसका मतलब GATT गया नहीं है अभी तक भी. GATT is now a one agreement, a one small part of the World Trade Organization. GATT क्या बन के रह गया? वर्ल्ड ट्रेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का एक छोटा सा हिस्सा बन के अब गैट रह गया वहां पे. सो इट इज नॉट बीन टोटली वेंट आउट. इट इज अब नाउ पार्ट एंड पार्सल. किसका पार्ट एंड पार्सल है गैट अब वहां पे? इट इज अ पार्ट एंड पार्सल ऑफ वर्ल्ड ट्रेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. सो विल हैव द लुक ऑन वर्ल्ड ट्रेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन नाउ. सी वर्ल्ड ट्रेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, it is an intergovernmental organization. World Trade Organization क्या है? देखो, intergovernmental organization है, and it is actually focusing on the trade aspect among the different countries. किस पे फोकस करता है ये? डिफरेंट कंट्रीज के बीच में जो ट्रेड एस्पेक्ट है उस ट्रेड एस्पेक्ट को क्या करता है? ये फोकस करता है. गैट एग्रीमेंट जब था ना, तो वो जो गैट एग्रीमेंट था उसमें ट्रेड रिलेटेड एस्पेक्ट्स पे डिस्कशन करने के लिए, जब गैट एग्रीमेंट था तब उसमें ट्रेड रिलेटेड एस्पेक्ट पे डिस्कशन करने के लिए अलग अलग राउंड हो गए थे. डिस्कशन के क्या हो गए थे? वहां पे अलग अलग राउंड हो गए थे. एंड इन दैट पर्टिकुलर डिफरेंट राउंड, the 8th round was there. In that different round which was there, which was the round, 8th round was there, and that 8th round was conducted at a Uruguay. Uruguay is one of the country, okay? So that was conducted at the Uruguay, and in that Uruguay round, a decision was taken for the purpose of the creation of the WTO. उस रुग्वे राउंड में किसको क्रिएट करने के लिए डिसीजन लिया गया? WTO को क्रिएट करने का डिसीजन रुग्वे राउंड में लिया गया वहां पे. और उसी राउंड में अंडर द ऑस्पिशियस ऑफ द WTO 2 एग्रीमेंट बनाने का डिसीजन हुआ. एंड व्हाट वाज दैट 2 एग्रीमेंट? आई ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू. ट्रेड रिलेटेड इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट एस्पेक्ट, TRIPS, and then another agreement is a TRIMS, Trade Related Investment Measure, is another agreement. Okay. Now we'll just have a smaller look on the first of all WTO and within 5 minutes we'll also look to the TRIPS and TRIMS, and then we will end today's session. World Trade Organization, as already I have told you, this is commenced on January 1st, 1995 is the date when this particular organization commenced, and this organization replaced the GATT. Already I have told you, General Agreement on Tariff and Trade. This GATT was created in which year? 1948 is the year when GATT was created, and replacing the GATT, who come? WTO come. But already I have cleared you. Yet GATT is not out of the picture. GATT is now part and parcel of the WTO's one of the agreement. Now WTO किससे डील करता है ये भी मैंने आपको ऑलरेडी बताया. WTO deal with the trade between the nations. बिटवीन द नेशंस ट्रेड से डील करने वाला दुनिया का वन ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कौन है बोलो वहां पे? WTO, वर्ल्ड ट्रेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट को निगोशिएट करने के लिए कौन हेल्प करता है? WTO हेल्प करता है. नेशन और नेशंस के बीच में ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट्स को बनाने और निगोशिएट करने के लिए कौन मदद करता है? WTO मदद करता है. इवन ये बनाए हुए जो ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट है वो पार्टिसिपेंट पे एनफोर्स भी कौन करता है? WTO उसको एनफोर्स करता है वहां पे. सो दिस WTO has certain functions also. See, what are the functions of the WTO? Number one function of the WTO is the implementation, administration and operation. ये काम कौन करता है? WTO करता है. Again, provide for a forum for negotiation and settling of dispute. जो भी वर्ल्ड ट्रेड रिलेटेड डिस्प्यूट्स होते हैं ना, उसको निगोशिएट करके सेटल एक फोरम भी कौन प्रोवाइड करता है? WTO फोरम क्या करता है? प्रोवाइड करता है. देन टाइम टू टाइम वर्ल्ड वाइड जो ट्रेड पॉलिसी बनाई गई है उसको रिव्यू करने के लिए भी कौन मदद करता है? WTO. WTO एडमिनिस्टर द ट्रेड पॉलिसी रिव्यू मैकेनिज्म आल्सो. देन WTO फाइनली रिव्यू एंड प्रोपागेट अलग अलग नेशनल ट्रेड पॉलिसीज को रिव्यू और प्रोपागेट उसका प्रचार प्रसार कौन करता है? WTO वहां पे करता है. नाउ एक्चुअली has made many agreements, but out of that, the intellectual property right related to agreement, which both are made at the Rugwe round, which already I have told you, are TRIPS and TRIMS. Okay, so the next step we are supposed to see is this agreement. Number one agreement is a TRIPS, and another agreement we are supposed to see is a TRIMS. Okay, so a smaller look we will have on this particular two agreement. First of all, हम लोग किससे डील करते हैं? हम लोग first of all डील करते हैं TRIPS से. TRIPS क्या है? देखो वहां पे TRIPS agreement is a multilateral framework. ध्यान में आ रहा है? मल्टीलैटरल, यूनिलैटरल, बायलैटरल गया आपको. मल्टीलैटरल मतलब क्या आ जाएगा? जिसमें बहुत सारे कंट्रीज इन्वॉल्व है, दैट इज कंसिडर्ड एज अ मल्टीलैटरल. ओके, सो ट्रिप्स एग्रीमेंट एक मल्टीलैटरल फ्रेमवर्क है. किस पर्पस के लिए बनाया गया है? फॉर द एनफोर्समेंट ऑफ IPR. IPR के एनफोर्समेंट के लिए बनाया गया एक मल्टीलैटरल एग्रीमेंट. मतलब कौन है? ट्रिप्स है. देखो जिन्होंने WTO एग्रीमेंट साइन किया हुआ है, जो देश WTO के मेंबर है, वो ऑटोमेटिकली ट्रिप्स के मेंबर बन जाते हैं. और WTO के सारे मेंबर पे ट्रिप्स के जो सारे प्रोविजन है वो क्या हो जाते हैं? देखो बाइंडिंग हो जाते हैं. सो द लॉ सेज एवरी मेंबर ऑफ द WTO इज रिक्वायर्ड टू ऑब्जर्व द प्रोविजन ऑफ द ट्रिप्स. WTO के सारे मेंबर को किसके प्रोविजन फॉलो करना कंपलसरी है? ट्रिप्स के प्रोविजन. और मिनिमम लेवल ऑफ IPR इन द नेशनल लॉ एज पर ट्रिप्स एग्रीमेंट. अपने अपने नेशनल लॉ को किस हिसाब से बनाना रिक्वायर्ड है? उनको रिक्वायर्ड है कि दे मेक द नेशनल लॉ एज पर द ट्रिप्स एग्रीमेंट. ट्रिप्स एग्रीमेंट के हिसाब से नेशनल लॉ को बनाए वहां पे. तो इस ट्रिप्स की जरूरत क्या थी? हम लोग वेरी फर्स्ट पॉइंट पे वापस आ जाते हैं. जो इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड में रुकावटें आ रही थी, इम्पीडिमेंट्स आ रहे थे, उसको रिड्यूस करने के लिए ट्रिप्स की जरूरत थी. देन इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे एक मल्टीलैटरल फ्रेमवर्क बनाने के लिए ट्रिप्स की जरूरत थी. Then next one is that जो least developed countries है, मतलब almost like underdeveloped countries, उनको प्रोटेक्शन देने के लिए ट्रिप्स की जरूरत थी. Then multilateral disputes को रिजॉल्व करने के लिए ट्रिप्स की जरूरत थी. And basically एक कॉमन यूनिफॉर्म रूल्स फॉर द प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट बनाने के लिए भी किसकी जरूरत थी? बोलो ट्रिप्स की जरूरत थी. अब ये जो ट्रिप्स का एग्रीमेंट है ना, वो टोटल 73 आर्टिकल से बना हुआ है. हाउ मेनी आर्टिकल्स आर देयर इन द ट्रिप्स एग्रीमेंट? 73 आर्टिकल्स आर देयर एंड इट इज कंपोज्ड ऑफ द 7 पार्ट्स. ये 73 आर्टिकल टोटल कितने पार्ट में डिवाइडेड है? 73 पार्ट में डिवाइडेड है. सॉरी, अपोजिट साइड बोल दिया मैंने. 7 पार्ट्स आर देयर which are divided into the 73 articles. Now see, the very important point which you're supposed to see is that what are the types of intellectual property covered by the TRIPS agreement? Because ना कहते थे कि वहाँ पे IPR में जो another points is set है, जैसे कि वो इंटीग्रेटेड सर्किट वगैरह वो नहीं था. उसने पहला काम क्या किया बोलो? ट्रिप्स एग्रीमेंट ने एक कॉमन इंटरनेशनल कैटेगरीज दे दी है जिसमें इंक्लूडेड ट्रेडमार्क इज इंक्लूडेड. मीनिंग आपको सबको पता है अभी कल का. कॉपीराइट बुक्स, लिटरेचर, नॉवेल, ड्रामा, आर्ट, म्यूजिक वगैरह पे दिया जाता है. देन ट्रेडमार्क इज देयर व्हिच इज प्रोटेक्टेड अंडर द ट्रिप्स एग्रीमेंट. जियोग्राफिकल इंडिकेशन इज आल्सो प्रोटेक्टेड. रिमेंबर ना, दार्जिलिंग टी, कोल्हापुरी चप्पल, ऑल दिस नागपुरी संतरा, geographic indication are protected. Industrial design, just like you can take out an example of the clothes of Manish Malhotra. Industrial design of the cloths, that is also protected. Then patent is covered up under the TRIPS agreement. Then layout design of integrated circuit, that is also covered under the IPR within the definition of the TRIPS agreement. Now आपको पता है ये क्या होता है? Layout design of integrated circuit. देखो क्या होता है ये. डिड यू नो दैट सैमसंग का भी मोबाइल है और एप्पल का भी मोबाइल है, और एप्पल के मोबाइल की जो अंदर की सर्किट डिजाइन है वो अलग होती है और सैमसंग के मोबाइल के अंदर की सर्किट डिजाइन क्या होती है? अलग होती है. और उस अंदर के इंटीग्रेटेड सर्किट के डिजाइन के लिए भी अलग से IPR प्रोटेक्शन क्या होता है वहां पे मिलता है. सो दैट इज ऑल्सो कवर्ड अंडर द इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी अंडर द ट्रिप्स एग्रीमेंट. एंड प्रोटेक्शन अगेंस्ट द एंटी कॉम्पिटिटिव प्रैक्टिसेस, दैट इज ऑल्सो प्रोटेक्टेड अंडर द ट्रिप्स एग्रीमेंट. सो ऑल दीज IPRs are there which are protected under the TRIPS agreement. Now the next point we are supposed to see is that what is the main obligation which is put out by this TRIPS agreement on the member state. See, what is the obligation? Member state shall give effect to the provision of this agreement. Compulsory. Member may but shall not be obliged to implement in their domestic law more extensive protection than is required by this agreement. इस agreement में जितना required है उतना protection member state क्या करे? अपने अपने देश में IPR को दे दे वहां पे. Member shall accord the treatment provided for this agreement to the national of the other member. आपको याद है मैंने बताया था नेशनल ट्रीटमेंट. मेंबर स्टेट्स जो है वो मेंबर स्टेट रिक्वायर्ड करते हैं कि जो ट्रीटमेंट वो अपने देश के IPR को देता है, अगर किसी और देश से IPR प्रोटेक्शन का एप्लीकेशन आता है तो सेम ट्रीटमेंट मेंबर स्टेट को क्या करनी पड़ेगी? वहां पे देनी पड़ेगी. उसको क्या बोला जाता है? नेशनल ट्रीटमेंट. ओके, सो ईच मेंबर शैल अकॉर्ड द नेशनल ऑफ द अदर मेंबर the treatment not less favorable than it accord to its own national, subject to the provision of Paris Convention, Berne Convention, Rome Convention. इन जो भी conventions में जो भी exceptions दिए है उतने exceptions को छोड़ के हर देश को जो ट्रीटमेंट वो अपने नेशनल को देता है एज रिगार्डिंग IPR प्रोटेक्शन, वही प्रोटेक्शन क्या करना है? अदर कंट्रीज के भी IPRs को क्या करना है? वहां पे प्रोवाइड करना है. सो नेशनल ट्रीटमेंट वाज an important point which is provided by this particular TRIPS agreement. Now the last point we are going to deal regarding the TRIPS agreement is that dispute settlement system. One of the important feature of the TRIPS agreement was that under TRIPS agreement a dispute settlement system was created. See, this dispute settlement system is consisted of one body called as the DSB. Now see, what is the long form of this DSB? Dispute settlement body is one of the most powerful body of the WTO. It is a central element which provides the security and predictability to the multilateral trading system. They try to make a fair settlement of trade dispute. How they try to settle the dispute? Fair settlement of the trade dispute is their specialty. And this DSB have the 4 working groups. That is, one is a working group, another is a panel, then another is a permanent expert group, and even under this DSB there is a arbitration also. So dispute settlement system under the DSB is also one of the important aspect of the TRIPS. So in all, this is the first important document which is created under the TRIP, under the WTO, that is Trade Related Intellectual Property Aspect TRIPS Agreement, which is created under the WTO. And today's last point we are going to see is the TRIMS, Trade Related Investment Measure is the next point we are going to see now. See, in the history again same point comes. What is that particular same point will come in the history? Rugwe round was taken. In that Rugwe round, discussion was made for the creation of the WTO, and at the same time, two agreement, TRIPS and TRIMS. Now, this TRIMS is for, from the name itself, you can understand. For what this particular agreement is made, investment major. You know, nowadays we are living in the world of FDI, foreign direct investment. बहुत सारे फॉर्म में आजकल फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट हमारे कंट्री में भी आता है, से फॉर एग्जांपल इंडिया में भी. तो हमने ना क्या किया, समझो देखो, फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट को अलाउ तो कर दिया कि आप आ सकते हो और इंडिया में एफडीआई कर सकते हो वहां पे. लेकिन उनको फ्रीडम ऑफ ट्रेड नहीं दिया. उनपे अनरीजनेबल रिस्ट्रिक्शंस लगा दिए. तो इतना पैसा जो उन्होंने इंडिया में डाला हुआ है, लगाया हुआ है, इन्वेस्ट किया हुआ है, उसका जो आउटपुट है ना, वो उसका आउटपुट नहीं मिलेगा. तो ये जो है ना ट्रिम्स एग्रीमेंट, ये ट्रेड डिस्टॉर्शंस को रोकने के लिए बनाया गया है. गेटिंग द पॉइंट? ट्रिम्स एग्रीमेंट किस चीज के लिए बनाया गया? ट्रेड डिस्टॉर्शंस को रोकने के लिए बनाया गया वहां पे. तो जब भी कोई कंट्री इंडिया में इन्वेस्टमेंट करती है, तो उनको आप अराउंड वापस वही सेम पॉइंट पे आते हैं. अगर इंडियन कंपनी ने इन्वेस्टमेंट की है तो उसको जो रूल्स है वही रूल्स किसको एप्लीकेबल हो जाएंगे. अगर कोई फॉरेन कंट्री इन्वेस्टमेंट करती है तो उनको भी क्या हो जाएगा, वहां पे सेम रूल्स क्या हो जाएंगे, एप्लीकेबल हो जाएंगे. तो इस ट्रिम्स एग्रीमेंट के नीचे ट्रेड डिस्टॉर्शंस को रोकने के लिए उन्होंने बोला है. और बोला कि जब फॉरेन इन्वेस्टर्स इंडिया में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं, तो आपको कुछ जो रेगुलेशंस आप डालते हो ना, वो रेगुलेशंस आपको अनरीजनेबल है तो आपको रेगुलेशंस नहीं डालने वहां पे. सो सर्टेन रेगुलेशंस, रिस्ट्रिक्शंस व्हिच आर प्रोहिबिटेड अंडर ट्रिप्स एग्रीमेंट. ट्रिम्स एग्रीमेंट के नीचे कुछ रिस्ट्रिक्शंस है जो क्या किए गए, देखो, प्रोहिबिट किए गए. वो क्या है, देखो, नंबर 1, local content requirements. Number 1 restriction which is मना है, prohibited under the TRIMS agreement, that is local content requirement. आप बोलोगे अब ये क्या होगा local content requirement? तो यहाँ पे ना एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल फटाफट दे देती हूँ मैं आपको. सपोज क्या हो गया पता है आपको, हमने ना एक एग्जांपल फॉर्म ले रहे हैं. दिस इज नॉट लाइक दैट. सपोज इंडिया ने एप्पल कंपनी को अपना आईफोन इंडिया में बेचने के लिए परमिशन दे दी. इंडिया ने एप्पल कंपनी को अपना आईफोन इंडिया में बेचने के लिए क्या दे दी, परमिशन दे दी. लेकिन उनको बोला कि एप्पल फोन के अंदर जो बैटरी आप लगाओगे ना, वो बैटरी इंडियन होनी चाहिए. तो you can just imagine कि is it possible for Apple phone to work with the Indian battery? तो यहाँ पे ना ऑलमोस्ट एक तरह से आप उनको क्या कर रहे हो, मना ही कर रहे हो कि आप इंडिया में बिजनेस नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि आपको पता ही है ना कि एप्पल फोन अपने मोबाइल में हमारी इंडियन बैटरी नहीं लगाएगी. तो इस टाइप का रिस्ट्रिक्शन डालना प्रोहिबिटेड है ट्रिम्स एग्रीमेंट के अंडर वहां पे. Another example of restriction we can take out is that one, ट्रेड बैलेंसिंग रिक्वायरमेंट इज अनदर एग्जांपल. अब ये ट्रेड बैलेंसिंग रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है, देखो, वी कैन टेक आउट अगेन स्मॉलर एग्जांपल फॉर दैट वन. सपोज ना एक फॉरेन कंपनी इंडिया में आई है, और एफडीआई किया उन्होंने, और इंडिया में ना वो घी के प्रोडक्शन में पैसा लगा रहे हैं. अब ना इंडियन गवर्नमेंट ने उनको क्या बोला पता है, कि आप किस में पैसे लगा रहे हो, घी के प्रोडक्शन में आप पैसा लगा रहे हो. अब उस कंपनी ने कुछ पीरियड के लिए घी में पैसा लगाया, और अब उनको क्या लगता है पता है कि वो फॉरेन कंट्री से किसी चीज लेके आए और इंडिया में वो क्या करे, वहां पे चीज को बेचे और उससे भी इंडिया में पैसा कमाए. अब इंडियन गवर्नमेंट उनको क्या बोल रहा है कि जितना घी आप एक्सपोर्ट करोगे उतना ही आप चीज क्या कर सकते हो, इंपोर्ट कर सकते हो. ध्यान में रहा. ऐसे उनको ट्रेड बैलेंसिंग रिस्ट्रिक्शन लगा दी. Now you are aware, in a foreign country, the demand of ghee is definitely lesser because they people didn't prefer to have the fatty food. घी हम लोग इंडियन ही प्रेफर कर सकते हैं. तो डेफिनेटली इसका एक्सपोर्ट कम होगा ना, तो वो चीज मैक्सिमम कितना इंपोर्ट कर सकते हैं. तो ये भी रिस्ट्रिक्शन एक तरह से क्या बोलो, अनरीजनेबल रिस्ट्रिक्शन कंसिडर की गई है वहां पे। हाँ, तो इस ट्रिम्स एग्रीमेंट के नीचे ना ऐसे बहुत सारे पॉइंट्स दिए हुए हैं। हाँ, लाइक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग रिक्वायरमेंट, ट्रेड बैलेंसिंग रिक्वायरमेंट, हाँ, डोमेस्टिक सेल रिक्वायरमेंट, हाँ, एक्सपोर्ट परफॉर्मेंस रिक्वायरमेंट, लोकल इक्विटी रिस्ट्रिक्शंस। हाँ, अगर ये सारे रिस्ट्रिक्शंस आप डालते हो तो जिस इंसान ने एफडीआई करके इंडिया में पैसा इन्वेस्ट किया उसको फ्री ट्रेड करना पॉसिबल ही नहीं होगा। हाँ, उसने जितना पैसा लगाया उसके प्रोपोर्शन में उसको अर्निंग करना पॉसिबल नहीं होगा। इसीलिए ये जो ट्रिम्स बनाया गया है उसमें कुछ इन्वेस्टमेंट मेजर किए गए। हाँ, कि जो रूल आप डोमेस्टिक जो इन्वेस्टर्स है उनको लगाते हो ना, वही रूल आप किसको लगा, वही रूल आप फॉरेन इन्वेस्टर्स को भी लगा। इसके लिए ट्रिम्स क्या किया गया, बनाया गया। हाँ, बहुत डिटेल एग्रीमेंट है। At some time we will deal with that details also. हाँ, right now we are finishing our chapter number 1 from Shivaji University IPR syllabus. हाँ, that is इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी का जो इंटरनेशनल कंसर्न है, वो इंटरनेशनल कंसर्न हमने क्या किया यहाँ पे डिस्कस किया with all history, okay, starting from Paris Convention, Berne Convention, Madrid Convention, Universal Copyright Convention we have seen. Then we have gone through WIPO, World Intellectual Property Right Organization. Then we have gone through the next one, World Trade Organization. Then we have gone through the trade-related aspect of intellectual property right, that is TRIPS. And just now we have finished out the TRIPS agreement also, and we finish our unit number 1. Okay. Do you have any doubts or something? You can put out in the comment box if you want to know anything. Okay, so probably nobody's having the comment on this issue of doubts. Okay, so I think you have got what I have told you. Even tomorrow also, when we will start, in the comment box, if you have any doubt about yesterday's lecture we had, you can ask me the doubts also. Okay, so we'll end. Thank you for watching, coming, and your kind presence. Thank you.